Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to a video. In this video I kind of want to go over Curse Staff. So many people have whispered me saying they've played Curse Staff because they've seen me playing it, they think it looks really fun, all that sort of stuff, and it is. So I want to do like a bit of an in-depth guide. I'm going to have some tests, do a couple of things, and hopefully get some jewels just to show you what I'm doing. So my normal setup is... Sorry, I just turned wrong. My normal setup is Cleric Cal. I pretty much use nothing else. So if we have no backline peel at all, bearing in mind I typically run with 4 DPS and a healer. I have run knockback from time to time. It is a massive knockback. The damage is not important at all. It's purely just for the knockback. The cooldown of 30 seconds isn't actually bad. However, Ice Block is just better if you can use it. But swap between them. Definitely give Force Field a go. It's definitely good if you can use it in the right situation. We'll go over the chest in a second. Boots. I use 2 different types of boots. I use night boots. Night boots are the more team-oriented ones. The other boots I typically use are the Guardian boots. Guardian boots doubles your amount of health, which doubles your hit points. Makes it harder to top you up for a healer, but obviously double hit points means half the damage in the grand scheme of things if you look at the maths. The 25% move speed isn't a bad thing either. I prefer Guardian boots with Druid robes, so we'll go over the robes a second. And so I use either the Mage robes. If I use the Mage robes, I typically use Frost Shield. I use Berserker if we're going for a team that's quite tanky, because I can pop that when I'm getting half health and still kick out a lot of damage. But if I think I'm going to get dived on, so if there isn't another kill target, if it's likely just to be a bit of poke, I use Berserker because I can use that extra damage on me. However, Frost Shield is pretty much my go-to for a defensive if I'm the kill target in our team. On Druid robes, I use Obsessive Burst. Obsessive Burst is... It's really strong, so it does a massive amount of damage. Druid robes are known at the moment for being really strong, just because you get 20 seconds. So I'm going to just hit on him here using Druid robes, and I'll sort of show you. I'm just going to show you what sort of damage I can kick out with this. Obviously, this is a perfect scenario where I just stand still and cast. I'll be going over things like rotation and stuff in a second. But if you actually look at... So I'm going to pop my bomb there. And my bomb just hit him for 1750. And he's only got 1800 health. Like, I nearly one-shot him with my bomb. Obviously, the rest of the damage did a lot. But yeah, it's really strong. So the problem is you lose a defensive for that. So... if we run a really heavy front line, so typically I play with like a quarterstaff, a claret blade. The other day I was running quarterstaff, claret blade, bloodletter. I was like the only backline. It was brilliant. And we had a great holy staff, so I could literally stick with a great holy staff. He could knock everything away, and I could stack that so easily because no one could get to me, and when they did, they were dead anyway. And I was kicking out a lot of damage. However, if I go safe, if I go for like the 7-1 sets that I typically run in Hellgates now with my main groups, I run Mage Robe. Mage Robe does a lot more sustained damage just because of the extra ability bonus, and it gives me the extra defensive, which is nice. So yeah, that's the sort of 3 armor pieces. I've never changed my head. I only use different helmets with different builds, things like Mage Cow with obviously Warbow, stuff like that. And boots, I swap between Guardian and Knight depending on how likely it is I'm going to be focused. They're both really high mastery, so it makes no difference really for me, but yeah, it kind of depends on how much I get focused, or how squishy my team is. If my team's really squishy, I always run Knight just because of that extra shield. In terms of weapon, so running this setup right here, so one-handed curse with sarcophagus, with cleric cowl, mage robes and night boots, makes me very, very tanky. Makes me very, very tanky because of that extra damage. I'm just going to duel him all in the background. Okay, whatever. Yeah, makes me very, very tanky. So just naturally there, he's doing no damage to me, and I've not even really popped a defensive yet. So that's my second defensive popped, and he's got me to roughly 70% health right now, and that's my third defensive popped, and that's him dead. So we're just so tanky. Even a dagger sitting right on top of us can't do anything. However, if I run Great Curse offers a lot more team sort of damage. It offers more damage for me because I have a lot more mastery in it because of the E. So let me just go over, before we carry on with this, about like what weapons to use and stuff like that in what situations. Curse isn't a carry. So I played Curse thinking I could carry on it. It's not. You can't carry as a Curse. You can carry as other roles with a Curse in the group, if that makes sense. So my job in a fight with Great Curse Staff is to E off any heals, any heal over times, while applying Vile Curse to as many people as possible to put pressure. It's to land massive, massive armor pierces, just to make sure that the targets that we're focusing have less resistance and going to die faster. And then it's to keep up a good amount of damage, but certainly not like the strongest amount of damage ever. I'm going to do basically my full damage rotation, like my full combo. On Dukes here, who seems to be helping me with this video unwillingly. And like we do a lot of damage realistically, like 2 E's so far and a W, and he's in like half health. So Curse does do a lot of damage, however that's easily healed when you've got someone focus healing you. So Curse isn't the carry, it's the support. People think that's really crazy to say, however I know someone that runs with plate armor and he runs with the knight armor with a wind wall, as well as, where's Curse, goddammit, as well as the demonic staff for the AoE healing reduction. Just to sort of give my opinion on this stuff, so we'll go over all of them in a second. However, in fact, actually we'll do that now. So let's go to tier 8. So Great Curse Staff, what's this situation used for? This is typically your everyday staff. This is what you're going to use most of the time. It does a lot of AoE damage, a lot of AoE pressure, good high amount of damage because the curse stacks. Two-handed obviously does more curse damage than the one-hands, and armor piercer is just as good as ever. So you can kick out a lot of damage, a lot of sustained damage. You're going to remove all hots, which means you nullify a nature healer in the right if you play well. It's good. The demonic staff. The demonic staff is similar to the Great Curse Staff in damage slightly. It loses a little bit of damage because of the E. However, the E stops 70% of healing and 36 damage every second. It also, bear in mind, this is a very, very melee burst meta. A lot of people are running assassin jackets. This reveals them from invis. This is definitely a weapon to invest some mastery in for Hellgates. However, GVGs, I don't like this. There's too many chokes, too many ways to get out of it. It's just not great. So I would use this if you've got a team that can lock down, if you've got a CC team for Field of Death, basically to lock them in that, puts Field of Death on top of them, stop all the healing, just kick out a lot of damage, and you're sorted. You're going to do a lot of damage that way. A lot of team pressure as well. Curse Skull, just terrible. You have to over commit for this and outposition yourself, which just puts you in a position to get killed. The only time I can see this being legitimately good is if you're a plate wearer, because it still does a very high amount of base damage and it does the max health damage, which isn't affected by cloth or plate or whatever. So you could use this just to get up in there and do a lot of damage. However, I still think that even in plate you would still be swapped onto very quickly, because you either interrupt it yourself or you die, and it's just that simple, especially in cloth. So I would never recommend this for any situation. The Cursed Staff, I was playing this the other day. We were playing a great comp. We were playing with Arcane Healer Curse and then Current Bloodletter, I believe. So the frontliners just went in and everyone expects the beam onto the Clarent. So I was sat behind doing a Curse on someone that had no defensives. I was put it on leather users typically, like the Bloodletters, the Carrions. I put a bomb on someone with 4 stacks and a full beam. and I did 2,100 damage to him is the highest I hit. I think I 100 to 0'd him anyway. He literally just died. And that ended the fight because they just lost so much pressure from that. So in the right situation, bearing in mind bomb can be cleansed, it can be interrupted, it can be blocked, immune, damage reduction on it. He's pretty much always going to get some sort of defensive, which is kind of good in itself. However, I think other things potentially offer more in team situations. If you want to be the carry, if you've got someone else that can do the supporty role, so like we said, we had the arcane, so I could afford to go for a bit more damage, then yeah, I really like this. And if you're using this, use nothing else but the sarcophagus for that extra tankiness. Because if people see you with this, they'll dive on you to stop you casting. And then Life Curse Staff. Life Curse Staff is really, really good. Again, if you're playing that full support role, I run this with Cloth, but I run as a, if I play this, I play as a support. I sit in the back line, and I put this on the front liners just to do a lot of damage. It can be purged off or cleansed off, I believe. But yeah, I just put this on the front liners, let them go rip, and my whole goal in that situation is just to dot as many people as I can to put pressure out and armor pierce to kill targets. That's pretty much it. If you're running Life Curse Staff, run with a Mistcaller because you want to get more armor pierces out and more Enfeeble Blades out. And you actually cast your Vile Curse faster, so it is a DPS increase. So that's the weapons and the situations in which I use them. Let's go into food and consumables. What consumables and food do I use? So I use pretty much always, I'm moving towards stew or sandwich. So if we run 7-1 and we keep meeting people who are running 7-1, I run sandwich. The reason for that is a lot of teams at the moment in this meta are very, very burst oriented. They go in, they blow everything to kill someone. If that doesn't work, they're screwed. If I have a sandwich, I have that extra bit of survivability to survive that, and that's brilliant. That means I actually have a chance of living. If I'm just running and we're just stomping through teams, we've got our main team, I pretty much always run stew. It's just good damage, to be honest. The other option is omelette, so I run omelette in this situation. If I have either, that's the wrong weapons. If I have either the Curse Staff, because I can get more bombs off, faster casts on the bomb as well, which means less chance of interrupting, or Life Curse Staff, I run with that, or Demonic Staff, because with Demonic Staff you want more armor pierces. If you're running with Great Curse Staff, I would probably run the stew or the sandwich, just because you actually kick out a lot of damage and you're quite a safe position as well, a way that Great Curse Staff is more of a DPS weapon, whereas Demonic and Life Curse are support, and Curse you actually need the CDR to do a lot more, because you want to get the bomb off before they get their defensives back up. So that's kind of that, really. Just to sort of show you what the other abilities do. The sickle, never use the sickle ever, literally ever. It's terrible. You can make arguments for it in GVG if you're fighting around chokes. Hellgates, just never use it. It's just not very good. It looks amazing. I'll just show you what it looks like. It does look fantastic. Come on. There we go. So it does look fantastic. But it's just not very good right now. I've been trying to make it work. The other trick you can do with it is that a lot of people know this now, but I'll mention it anyway. Is if I wanted to aim for that target there, I could actually put it behind me and it will still go. You can actually fly it away rather than putting it there and having it fly back to me. There's reasons to use both, but it is what it is. Let's swap that back. You've also then got Curse Beam. Curse Beam does a lot of damage. So again, playing with the Arcane, I tried this out. This with 100% beam from Arcane, you can actually kill someone if they outposition and don't have a defensive for it or don't break it. So there's a lot of sort of reasons that they can stop it. However, if they don't, that's going to hurt someone. It's on a 10-second cooldown. I believe Beam is actually on like a 15-second cooldown. Let's actually have a look at that. It's on a 15-second cooldown, so you can have this up for every single Curse Beam. Just means you're going to kick out so much damage. Everyone, like, no one uses it. It is really good. Please don't underestimate this, guys. It is really, really strong. Armor Pierce wins in a team situation if you have no other resistance breakers. But if you even have one resistance breaker, even if it's single target, you can use that. You can use Curse Beam on that target, and it's going to be effective. You just have to put more pressure on one person, be a bit more coordinated. Whereas Armor Piercer, you can get like 4-man Armor Piercers, and it just, you don't need to be so coordinated. Desecrate, useless, never use it. When I first saw this, I thought you would actually make like a tidal wave that you sent forward that would root everyone hit and inflicts them with a curse, which I really like the idea of. However, this isn't. This is just a very small AoE around yourself, and that is literally it. It's just terrible. Armor Piercer wins over that every time. In terms of passives, I've not really gone over passives. Now, I am someone who likes the ability to sustain. Energetic is my favourite. Personal favourite. A lot of people don't like me using it, don't use it themselves. I can never run out of energy in a team fight because I'm always auto-attacking, I'm always casting Qs, and I can sustain my energy pretty much permanently. However, running Bane means you just get more auto-attack damage. On every 4 you just do a big auto-attack, which is pretty cool. Do a lot more damage. Again, by the same sort of thing, Furious, every 5 activated spells, which means you could be spamming Qs. You can get this off really quickly, and it's 10% increased damage. You can keep that up, not permanently, but close to, and it's really strong. Again, I just like, if I need to do damage, if I am one of the main damage dealers as more instead of being more of a support, then yeah, I'll use Furious. Otherwise, I use Energetic every time. When I unlock it and when I'm solo, Hit and Run is what I'll be using solo, just because 4 activated spells you get movement speed. I'm trying to get Select to join me so I can just show something off. Yeah, the increased move speed just means you can kite, and it's so good. Okay, we'll find someone else then. There we go. So what I want to show off, if you're 1v1, run like this. So you should be running pretty much the same setup as me, which is the Frost Shield, Knockback, and Rejuvenating Spirit. In Black Zones, this is what I run, and I quite often 1v2'd. I'm starting to record clips of that now that my computer's being a little bit more stable. But the reason I'm doing this is you can actually pretty much kite forever. I want him to fight me. So what I'm trying to show is, there we go. So if you watch, I'm actually not auto-attacking much here at all. I'm auto-attacking as I stop, but other than that, I'm not auto-attacking all that much. I'm actually using Frost Shield to kite him. I've got the sprint on, which means I can kite him even further. I've got the knockback, which means I can knock him away. I've got so much peel for myself. And so many ways to kite him. You should never be stood still as a curse user. If you're running one-handed, it's a little different. You've got to stand still for the bomb. But yeah, like I said, if you're using great curse staff, you should be never stood still. And like I said, I'm using Hit and Run come unlocking, just for even more kiting, because you really could kite a melee all day long with stutter stepping. That's one of my biggest tips for curse staff. This whole thing is supposed to be like an in-depth guide. Use Hit and Run. Basically, you should never be stood still. Kite all day long. I'll see if I can find some more people just to duel randomly. There we go. Is he going to accept it? I actually think he's in terrible gear. Let's see if we can get you. Come on. So I'm trying to get a couple of people just for duels while we're talking here. But yeah, like I said, you want to make sure that you're kiting all the time, never stand still, just put out as much damage as possible in team fights. It's about landing them big I don't know why I move out of it, but sure. It's about landing them massive armor piercers. So if I look here, if I was trying to pierce these two, I would use my sprint to reposition. Oh, okay. I'd use my sprint to reposition. I use my sprint pretty much on cooldown in a team fight. 1, it gives health. If I'm using the sprint, of course. 1, it gives health. 2, it means I can reposition. So he's running better gear now. Let's just see what we can do. So I landed my armor pierce. I'm going to knock him away. And again, I'm just kiting him all day long. So we know he's getting close to 3 stacks. He's going to E me. I can't stop this one. I did actually manage to kite away a little bit. I think he's still going to get it off. There we go. But again, he's running really good gear. He's running really good gear, and we still managed to just kite him out with this setup. Like, it does so well. For those interested, by the way, in how dots work in this game, when I cast Q, the first time, or after the first time, so the first time puts damage onto the target because it puts the dot on. Every time after that, every time you put a dot on them, it does another tick of the original dot. So if the dot is, say you're doing 200 damage per dot, and then I've got 60 or whatever, we'll call this one 50 damage, right? So it's currently doing 63, but we'll call it doing 50. If I then had 200 damage per second stacked up in dots and then cast this again, it would be 250 damage, which means you can effectively have 5 stacks if you cast Q on cooldown. That's really, really OP, really, really strong. So yeah, like, you can kick out a lot of damage with this. People really underestimate it. Like I said, there's 3 or 4 good options to do. But yeah, so I hope this will help you guys. Again, I feel like I'm rambling a lot at the moment. I don't know why, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm actually just going to change channel a sec. We are going out roaming in a sec. Yeah, so Curse is really fun. It's more of a support class. Please don't feel you're going to carry like this like I did. It's a mistake. You have to get in that sort of, you're there for the team mentality, you're there for the win rather than there for the glory, so to speak. I do typically get a lot of kills. People really underestimate how many kills I get. Saying that, most of my last kills have been warbow ganks. But yeah, so God. Yeah, most of my kills have been warbow ganks recently, so yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this guide. It's not really a guide, it's just an in-depth look at Curse, what Curse can do, how good it is. If you're interested in anything else, please ask questions below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that usual stuff. Other than that, guys, have a good evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Catch you later, guys.